All right, welcome back, everybody. We are here for another solo live stream today. What we're going to be talking about is the G block, specifically in Scarlet Violet era. But in order to do that, we're going to look back at the last two blocks of Sword and Shield era as well. And then we'll take a look at Scarlet and Violet era after. Just making sure that the stream is actually working. It is. Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll get into this topic, and then I will take some questions throughout the stream as well as at the end. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the chat below. We're starting a new thing where we shill the Discord. So I have a free Discord. Link is in the description below. You can buy, sell, trade there, as well as talk about collecting, investing, everything in between, stocks, crypto, all that stuff. So be sure to join up there. And you can send me messages on Discord or ping me in the Discord if you have any questions. And yeah, that's all I got to shill. So in general, I think it's pretty clear, pretty obvious that Sword and Shield era is booming, as well as some of the early Scarlet Violet era. It's really starting to pick up now. I'm starting to notice. And I think it's sooner than a lot of people thought it would, as far as, I think it's a symptom of the market overall, first of all, because if everything is hot, then people are going to start looking back a little bit earlier, or people, I think, are more willing to take the risk on early Scarlet Violet era, for example. As Sword and Shield, it's starting to become a little bit out of reach in some cases when you hit these $400-$500 price points for some of these boxes. But yeah, there's a lot of early Scarlet Violet era that's starting to pop off a little bit, and I think it's really actually going to take off the most next year. So for those that don't know, the sets 1 through 4.5, so SV base through Paldean Fates, is going to phase out of standard rotation starting in April of 2026. So yeah, I pretty much wanted to take a look, do a little case study of the last two standard rotations. So we're currently in the G block. We had the F block before that, as well as the E block. So those are the last two blocks of Sword and Shield. So let me pull that up. And then if you guys have any questions or comments throughout the stream, you can just let me know. Let's see. Jacob has a comment real quick. It'll be interesting to see what happens once the new Mega Pokemon drop. Yeah, I have no idea what to expect from the Megas as far as like the market goes. It seems like the demand is still there to kind of cushion whatever amount they're going to be printing. That being said, I don't want to get too overly bullish in the sense that Pokemon really could have had this planned out. People say it takes 8 to 10 months for them to print stuff. So we're just about reaching 10 months, I think, since the start of this boom. So if they were planning to print the Mega Evolution set into the ground, and it's not really a base set, but it kind of is in the sense that it's like this mini set or mini block. But yeah, we'll see how much they print. But let me share my screen real quick. Want to share? There we go. Connor, forgot about this stream. I'm headed to McDonald's right now. Will you still be streaming in 40 minutes? I don't know if I have that much to talk about with this. We'll see if I'm still yapping. If there's people in the chat asking questions, then I'll still be live. But you can always, again, rewatch the stream on YouTube. You can put me on 2x speed. Hopefully I wouldn't be talking too fast, but yeah, I would say don't feel too pressured about it. You can always come back and watch it tomorrow or later tonight. But yeah, we're just gonna look at. So for anyone that doesn't know, I guess I should explain real quick. Let's pull up like Charizard V, for example. This is from Brilliant Stars. If I were to look at the Charizard V alt art, I've shown this in some of my videos or streams before. But on the bottom left corner of every card, you can see this little indicator here. This one has the letter F. That means it is a part of the F block. If I look at the last set in the F block, which was Crown Zenith, we could look at Giratina, V-Star, Secret, just to really drive the point home as to how you can tell what block cards are in. The Giratina V-Star, which is Crown Zenith, was the last set in Sword and Shield era. It is also in the F block on the bottom left. You can see that. Now, in contrast, if you go to the Magikarp illustration rare from Paldea Evolved, you will see that Magikarp is actually in the G block. It's in a little bit different placement, but it's still the same like symbol. So the G block. So this is the next in the next standard rotation of sets. I did not know this personally until like a few months ago. But what I'm going to try and show here is the last block. It was, I guess, 5 sets. You had Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, Pokemon Go, Lost Origins, Silver Tempest, and Crown Zenith. That is all the sets in the F block. So that's 6 sets. And then we'll look at the E block briefly as well. And then we'll go to the G block in Scarlet Violet era. I'm really just trying to see if there's a way to tell any sort of trend when these sets went out of standard rotation. It's kind of difficult because with Sword and Shield era, for example, so let's look at this, right? So Brilliant Stars, I'm using price charting instead of TCG Player here because it really shows a better holistic view of the price data. You can go back until 2022. I think it goes till 2021 for price charting, but this set got released in 2022, I believe. So Brilliant Stars. So just to clarify, every April, from my understanding, every April each year, the last block will rotate out of standard rotation. So in April of 2025, the F block, meaning Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, Lost Origin, Pokemon Go, Silver Tempest, Crown Zenith, those all rotated out, so you could no longer use them in tournaments or whatever. The key thing to note about that is that Pokemon usually stops printing sets when they go out of standard rotation. Players don't need it anymore or can't use it. They're focusing on the future sets. So in April of 2025, if I zoom in here, April of 2025, what happens 1 month later? Boom. From $275 a box to $424 a box. Again, I like using price charting for this scenario because you can see that it was pretty much flat between 1 to 200 up until about the last year or so. But in April, when this thing went out of rotation, boom, huge bump up, which is interesting because we were already in the bull market at this point. April 2025, we would have been in the bull market for about 6 months already at that point. So from 275 to 425, I mean, what is that, like a 50 or almost 50%? If I do the price increase calculator, or percentage increase. So if we do 275 to 425, what does that come out to be? 54% increase in a month. I don't know. Is that a coincidence? Well, let's take a look at the next set, which was Astral Radiance. Astral Radiance, we go back, again, pretty flat. This one's definitely cheaper than Brilliant. And actually, they were pretty close for a while. And then around the same time, within the last year, it started to move up. Let's look at April. Boom. 272. Actually, like the same price as Brilliant, which is nuts. To 381. So almost 400. 270 to 400. I'm not even going to look at the percentage increase. I think you kind of get the point of what the point I'm trying to illustrate. So this set also went out of standard rotation at this time. Could it just be a coincidence? Sure. The reason why I say it could be a coincidence is because if you look at like specialty set like Pokemon Go, it doesn't have as obvious of a spike. In fact, actually, it like dipped down a little bit after. If you look at TCG Player, I believe. Pokemon Go is all over the place. I mean, this set was just absolute garbanzo for a long time. I still wouldn't really. The point I'm trying to make is just show that most of these sets experience this exact same trend that Astral Brilliant just showed for this block. Like if we go to Lost Origin, same thing. April, it was 391. Boom, 521. Big jump. Again, this could be a symptom of the greater bull market as far as like the actual percentage increase. But I feel like the trend line itself is pretty telling of when things go out of standard rotation. I mean, I don't want to say it's comparable to when like the Pokemon Center would go out of stock of stuff, but that's kind of like a similar analogy, I guess you could make here, where they kind of, there's just no more. There's no more coming. So yeah, I think also this is probably a symptom of if you saw Evolving Skies move and then you saw Fusion Strike move and then you saw Lost Origin move, a lot of these Sword and Shield eras do follow that Sword and Shield era sets do follow that sort of cascading effect where if the top of the food chain moves, usually the other sets will follow suit. I do think it's interesting though that it does happen the exact month that these sets went out of standard rotation. Silver Tempest, same thing. So relatively flat for a while. Obviously, you could get it on Pokemon Center all of this time, but it was cheaper on the market until sometime last year when it sold out. But then same thing, 270, boom, 350 from April 2025 to May 2025. And the last one, which it's interesting because the specialty sets didn't have as much of a trend line or as much of a jump up. Like Crown Zenith was already just marching on its way. I think this is probably more of a symptom of the rip and ships. It's definitely was already on the climb at that point. I see some questions in the chat. Hold on. I'm nervous. Pokemon does something crazy. New product shouldn't be 3 times MSRP. Yeah. The point of this video is not to say that brand new sets in Scarlet Violet era are going to do what happened at the end of Sword and Shield or when they went out of rotation. I'm just saying I do think people are probably underestimating what's going to happen to early Scarlet Violet era sets next year. If the market continues as it is, right? Like if everything crashes and burns, probably even stuff that goes out of standard rotation won't be up that much. Crazy as in what though? Just keep printing new sets, in my opinion. Yeah. They definitely need to be printing the newest sets. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, even today when we got the news of that, what was it? The Moltres thing. Oh my god, that thing was like, what the hell are they doing? They announced this for anyone that didn't see. They announced a Team Rockets Moltres UPC. Super cool box art. I'm a fan of the box art. I think what's interesting about this is since it's a UPC, like it seems like a lot of the English UPCs don't really give you a good pack selection. Like the SPCs or the UPC for 151 and the SPC for Prismatic gave you all packs from that set. I honestly think what they should have done here is either done all Destined Rivals or they should have just reprinted booster boxes. I don't know why we need like new specialty promos and then you only get 2 Destined Rivals packs. Like, why are people... I feel like UPCs are a good way for them to offload any extra products they have, or a lot of booster packs from earlier sets that they might not be like funneling through distribution anymore through other items. But I don't know. I don't know enough about the back end of it. Someone who's like more experienced knows better. The playmat's sick. The box is sick. Honestly, the promos I'm not even that upset about. For me, it's really the biggest kicker in the nuts for like people who don't have access to Destined Rivals is that this only gives them 2 packs of Destined and they're not reprinting booster boxes, it looks like, which is crazy because, again, brand new set. I do agree. Brand new sets pretty much that are still in standard rotation should be getting printed to, I won't say print to demand, but like they should be doing multiple waves of these things to try to churn out products. So maybe extend print cycles or change distribution. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know the back end of it, how they plan it out. I feel like their biggest fear is to recreate what happened in 2021 with Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike, Battle Styles, all those sets when sort of the demand started to fall a bit and they had so much supply coming in that it actually became an issue where it's not, because at that point it's not just the uh, at that point it's not just the sets they're reprinting that suffered. It's like all of that modern stuff kind of felt felt like it pulled back a little bit. But yeah, box does look really nice. Just want the box. Yeah, I think the box looks sick. But I just think from a product, like it just feels kind of not tone deaf, but like that they're not reading the room very well. Again, I put all my faith into Pokemon. I think they know what they're doing, but at this point, they're very intentionally not reprinting booster boxes, or at least not yet. I don't know if they're waiting for 30th anniversary. Maybe that could be a thing. Like maybe they wait till 30th anniversary and then they print like a shit ton of boxes to couple that to go with that set. I would have thought that around the mega sets, they really would want to print a ton because they're gonna get so much more traction and eyeballs on their brand from the video game. And so it makes sense for them to have more supply at that point so that more people are buying the products. Yeah, 2 Destined Rivals packs is nuts. I don't know what they're doing with that. I'm like locked into this. Trying to show. 2 DR packs is crazy. They got to get that shit together. I don't know what they're doing. Did I see it right that Prismatic is getting new stamped promos? They're getting, if someone in chat knows better about this, I know that they're getting a new, so I will say there's a new Prismatic special premium box. I don't know what it's called. This one, premium figure, special premium figure box. I don't fucking know what it's called. This thing, I think this thing is gonna be, I'm gonna be looking for these. I think this is better than the SPC in the sense that these 2 promos, I think they might have been in Japanese, but I think they released in maybe Chinese or something. I have no idea, but these promos are going to do very well, I feel like. Even though they're kind of just regular full arts, can't get them anywhere else. You get your figures or your pins or whatever, decent amount of packs. I think this is a good product. And I'm someone who's normally not shilling collection boxes just because the space they take up. But I think this is going to be the blooming waters of Prismatic, which I think is a solid pickup. Throwing Stellar in there is criminal. I mean, they threw. I just closed the page. They threw everything. I think. Like, don't they have every pack? Or no, they almost do. So they have. Look at this. They have SV base for 2, Paldea evolved for 4 Paldea, 4 Obsidian, 2 Paradox, 2 Temporal, 2 Journey, 2 Destined Rivals. So they don't. I don't think they have Stellar in here. Or am I not like seeing the pack cards right? Because I think these 2 are SV base. These 2 are Paldea. These 2 are Paldea as well, I think. I think this is the Reverum. Oh, wait. No, the Tyranitar, Reverum, Dragonite, Charizard. These 2 are Paradox. This is the Walking Wake and Raging Bolt from Temporal. And then we got 2 Journey, 2 Destined Rivals. So I don't know. I have no idea what they're about to be doing with this. Stellar Crown at least has cool hollow arts in the Bulbasaur and Squirtle IRs. I still think that Squirtle is like one of the best IRs out there. So yeah, I definitely agree. It has really bad special illustration rares though, like really weak set for special illustration. Gotta imagine they're building up for the holidays. Yeah, I think they announce like a, what is it, 2025 advent calendar too. 2025 advent calendar. I think this also comes with packs. Yeah, dude, this is crazy. Is this the actual product? Dude. Dude. How is it that... Okay. How is it that with the same amount of Destined Rivals packs as the freaking UPC? Are you kidding me? That is nuts. That is so, like, poorly planned out, I feel like. You get 2 Destined, 2 Journey, a Temporal... I don't even know what pack that is. Maybe Twilight? I literally don't know what pack that is if someone knows in the chat. And then you get a bunch of stamped promos. Which, again, I'm not a fan of them recycling artworks here for especially the illustration rares. It's kind of weird, but I don't know, man. Okay, it was Korean exclusive. Okay, yeah, so those are going to do really well. The figs, the fig collection. Those are going to crush it because you can't get those anywhere else. I don't even think they're in Japanese yet, are they? That's a good picture of them. Except it's blurry. Damn it. Okay. Well, we'll have to touch base on that as those come out. But yeah. Just throwing packs out the door at this point. Yeah, they are they're trying to figure it out, but they got to get a grip, bro. They don't really know what they're doing. So anyways, back to the video. Again, keep asking questions, please. If you want me to pull up something. I know there was also the Mega Victory Bell. I put that on my story. Mega Victory Bell. This thing looks wild. This thing looks wild, bro. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? My boy exploding. This is so crazy to me. He looks like a Mario character. You want to know what he looks like? Is the Wiggler. Bro, tell me that does not look like the Wiggler. Okay, maybe not. He kind of does, though. He kind of does. He when I saw this, I thought of like a Mario like Goomba with big lips or something. Goomba. What are the characters? I'm thinking of the wrong characters. I really thought he looked like a little Goomba or something. It looked funny. But that's my boy. They gotta put an SIR of this guy. Are you kidding me? People were saying some crazy stuff about the how he's wrapped up like that. He looks like a whoopee cushion though. It's pretty wild. I think it's funny. Honestly, so many of the megas look like so fucking trash to me. In terms of like they want to make them look serious, but they like do not look good. Like I think like Mega Camerupt, good example. Like this thing looks, bro, like get this out of here. What? Huh? It's like a rug, bro. He looks like a rug. He looks like Mag Cargo. Deadass looking like Mag Cargo. I would take the Victory Bell over this any day. What's another one? All right, now we got to go into this. Mega Pokemon list. All right. So, can I look at them one by one? Or is it going to lag out? Please. Shit. Yo, is this real? Oh, Gigantamax. Okay. So, we have... Okay, we're just going to look at them right here because this is easier. We'll zoom in. It's all right. Mega Charizard X and Y, obviously dope. Mega Blastoise, dope. Mega Beedrill, who cares? Mega Pidgeot, who cares? Mega Alakazam, the boy. Dude, like, Mega Victory Bell, like, actually looks menacing. Like, he looks like a boss character in, like, Mario or some Nintendo game. Mega Slowbro, I don't know how I feel about that. Not really the favorite. Mega Gengar, probably one of, if not the best looking Megas. Mega Kangaskhan, cool. Mega Pinsir looks the exact same, just with wings. Mega Gyarados, actually not really my favorite because he looks super shrimpy, but still pretty cool. Mega Aerodactyl, kind of meh. Mega Dragonite, I know, Sealed Capital, I know you were saying this one's not your favorite, but I don't know. He's growing on me. I think once we get an SIR or one of the pretty cool, but we'll see. Mega Mewtwo X, I like. Mega Mewtwo Y, not really my favorite. Too alien looking to me. Mega Ampharos, I don't mind. Mega Steelix, I don't even know what's going on. There's a lot going on there. Mega Scizor, dope. Mega Heracross, honestly, kind of dope too. Mega Houndoom, Tyranitar, amazing. Mega Sceptile, eh. And I'm a Sceptile fan, and he's kind of mid. Kind of mid. Mega Blaziken, super sick. Mega Swampert, throw him out. Garbage. Mega Gardevoir, I'm a fan, even though it looks the same here. Mega Sableye, eh. Mega Mawile, eh. Like, see, like, Mega Aggron is a really good example. Mega Aggron. Where, like, they tried to make this mega cool, and he does not look cool. And I'm someone who loves the OG Aggron. Like, this is one of my favorite Pokemon growing up. I think he's Gen 3, right? But, like, dude, what did they do to the boy? What did they do to the boy? That is not it. I get the idea of, like, wanting to make him look like a tank, but not it, brother. Like, let's look at the Mega Aggron, especially in the cards. Like, they did the boy dirty. This is the full art. This is what we got. So hey, all I'm saying, I'm taking Mega Victory Bell over Mega Aggron right here. Just saying. And what else we got? Mega Medicham. That is wild. I don't even think I've seen Mega Medicham before. That could be cool as a card. But Medicham is just a chopped ass Pokemon. No. Not a fan. Mega Manectric is okay. Mega Sharpedo is okay. Really looks the same. Mega Camerupt, garbage. Mega Altaria, not my favorite. Mega Banette. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it looks better than the regular Banette, so he's pretty scary actually looking. Pretty spooky. It'll be interesting to see if they get a card of that. Mega Absol, very dope based on the artwork we saw. Mega Glalie, garbage, throw it out. Mega Salamence, pretty cool. Not my favorite, but a cool card nonetheless, or cool Pokemon. Mega Metagross, pretty cool. Latias, pretty iconic. Rayquaza actually might be the best. Rayquaza, Gengar, and Charizard X might be my favorite 3. Mega Lopunny, don't care. Mega Garchomp, don't really care that much either, and I love Garchomp. Mega Lucario is actually one of the cleanest Megas, for sure. So I'm a fan of Mega Lucario. The last 4, don't care. Abomasnow, Gallade, Audino, and Diancie. Throw them out. But yeah, that was a fun little exercise. Mega Lopunny got too much love on the design. Yeah, dude, they gotta chill. It's a Pokemon. They gotta chill. Mega Swampert, bro, what are they doing? I think this is what people are thinking the Feraligatr is gonna look like too. He's gonna be all like buff and juiced up like that. Mega Victory Bell just like fits right in. I don't know why. He fits in, bro. Like he has that iconic look to him. Like these ones don't look iconic, you know what I mean? Mega Camera, like it looks so similar and just like not new to me that I'm very underwhelmed, I guess. Like even the Banette like looks very new, very cool, like menacing, kind of spooky. But like when you look at Aggron, Swampert, Slowbro, like they're so like basic. Pinsir, but even the Victory Bell, it's like a full 180 on his design, or its design. Very cool. Worried about Mega Feraligatr? Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like if I look up Mega Feraligatr, you'll see like some of the fan art. I think he may get that buff look to him. Like people are thinking like this. I prefer this over the Swampert, but I have no idea. I'm not even gonna try to speculate because I have no idea where they're gonna take it. But we'll see very soon. I'm sure they're gonna keep revealing the Megas. So yeah. If the wings were on his back, it'd be sick for the Dragonite, I'm assuming. Yeah. Are they saving Gen 2 for the 30th, you think? I don't know. I don't know if they'll save it for the 30th, but I think they're going to continue doing 151 Black Bolt White Flare style sets for other gens, because they're going to keep pulling. I mean, it's a genius concept, because they're going to keep pulling people who grew up in those eras back into the game, back into the cards, back into the franchise, and they're going to keep them in a chokehold, you know, for years to come. So they have a pretty good recipe, I think. Okay. So I know for anyone watching this back, they're gonna be like, bro, what the fuck? This guy just went on such a tangent, but I feel like I had to. Anyways, yeah. So moral of the story is, if you look at Sword and Shield, the most recent block, besides the specialty sets, all of the booster box sets from the last block, boom, spike when they went out of print. Now, when I go to the block after this, let me just search it. Please leave questions in the chat while I'm looking this up. If I go to the block before this, which is the E block, which is Battle Styles. Battle Styles, we have Chilling Reign. We have Evolving Skies. We have Celebrations, which is a specialty one. Then there is Fusion Strike, I think. So I think it's actually only 5 sets instead of 6. Let me open up all these. Okay. I'm going to share my screen again. So just to keep everyone on track here, I know this is kind of a lot to keep track of. So F block, which was Brilliant through Crown Zenith, was April 2025. The E block, the one before that, Battle Styles through Fusion Strike, those ended in April 2024. So actually, one could make the argument. Now, Battle Styles is weird because like this set was getting pumped up and down throughout the pandemic, but one could see that actually between April and May of 2024, there was like a almost 20% increase on Battle Styles. What are we pumping today, Quilly? We are pumping everything. Everything that's already pumped up. We're just being uber bullish today. But I don't think my data is going to work well here, because I believe when I checked this last night, like Chilling Reign, for example, it was already kind of on the upturn before. So this is the thing too. Just because it's like that exact month when it goes out of standard rotation does not mean that it couldn't already be on the upward trend leading into that. So you can see like even back in late 2023, pretty much consistently through when it went out of rotation, it climbed what, $100 or like $80. So it's not as obvious as those earlier Sword and Shield, or the last Sword and Shield sets I showed, and Battle Styles here. But that is Chilling. Now for Evolving is a unique one where it actually was flat this whole time. So even when it went out of rotation, I think it was just already probably too expensive at this point, quote unquote too expensive, $650 at the time. Like it stayed flat for a good, what is that, 6 months, 5 months? And then now it's just, I mean, it's off to the races, off to the moon. Vintage Prismatic. We're seeing, yeah, we're reading the horoscope charts. We're really just throwing darts at a dartboard, seeing where they land. So the trend with the earlier sets is not as obvious. This could be due to a few reasons. Maybe people didn't care about like sets going out of standard rotation at the time. Like even with Celebrations, it's actually going down. So Celebrations, again, specialty sets are a lot harder to draw this comparison to. And then similar to Chilling, I think Fusion was already on the up and up into April, and then it kind of rounded out. So not super consistent. But if you look at like the singles from this era, like if I look at like let's do it just because I want you guys to indulge me. Tyranitar V alt art. For Chilling, we'll do the Blaziken V Max, sorry. Then, what are we on? Evolving. I guess we could do Umbreon. I have no idea what the Umbreon's going to look like. Then Celebrations. We have Charizard Celebrations. I'm just taking the top cards in the set just to see if there's like a trend line. Because I looked at some of these and actually they were doing what I thought the boxes would be doing at this time. But I mean, look at this. April 2024 went out of print again, or out of standard rotation. It was already on the upturn, so it had already increased $15 that month. Boom, $150 between April and May. Blaziken. Will you look at that? Already on the upturn, but April, boom, 215 to 286. That's a big jump. Like, I mean, again, it kind of peaked there, but in 2 months, it went from 150 to 280. That's over almost 100% gain in 2 months. You literally could not find something else that's going to give you that sort of return in that short amount of time. What's up, Castell? What up, my boy? For anyone in chat, we are going to have Michael Castell on Castell Collectibles on in a few weeks, I believe. So look forward to that. For the Umbreon, again, kind of the same thing. Was already on the up and up. It has this beautiful curve right here. Bang. From April to May, $150 increase from $715 to $860. So actually the boxes, holy, the boxes were so, like, again, I don't want to say affordable, but relative to like the top singles, the set value was probably insane at this time. If just the Umbreon was $800 and the box was $650, you add up all the other evolutions, the set value was probably like $5-6K and the box is $500-600. What is this? The Charizard. Charizard, not really much there. Again, specialty sets, I don't see the trend as much. But look at this. Gengar, same thing. Already on the up and up. Boom. 300 to 360. So this is already riding off momentum here. But like in 2 months from 215, I mean, even 3 months, but 215 to 360. What is that? Like 30%? Actually, probably even a little more. I don't know. Again, the point I'm trying to illustrate is that when these sets went out of rotation, whether it was sealed, whether it was singles, you saw some sort of jump up. We're trying to use the past data, or I'm trying to use the past data to make informed decisions about what's coming next year. Because here's my issue. You have sets like Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates, ETB. That's sitting at what, $220 in ETB? Now it's steadily been going up. It actually doesn't even show it here, but Paldean Fates, ETB. If we look at TCG Player, I'm going to close all of these real quick. Paldean Fates is at $220 on TCG Player, yet the freaking Bubble Mew is $575. The PSA 10s are $2,000. Like, you just can't have like this sort of a discrepancy, in my opinion. 87% in the last 3 months. 60%. But like, look at this, right? What we just showed. 8% in the last month, but this is up 60%, 65% in the last month. Not telling you to buy Paldean Fates right now, but I am saying when this set goes out of rotation, if this Mew is anywhere near $575 and they have not reprinted the shit out of this set, we are all going to be in a position where we wished we bought some of this. And this is funny because I'm someone who does not like the baby shinies that much, or like the shiny sets, besides Hidden Fates, really. But these sets always do so well. I don't know how. I mean, it's crazy. But this card seems to be the front runner for the entire era. No question. Like, I was saying it probably is the best card in the era, but I like don't own any. And it's a little bit too cartoony for me, but just based on what we see, it seems to be the best card. But yeah, so let's pause for a second. I'm going to take some questions, and then I'm going to tell you guys what I predict or like possible predictions for price action, bullish predictions and bearish predictions for price action on the next block to rotate out, which will be the G block, which will be SV Base, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, 151, Paradox Rift, Paldean Fates. We're going to go set by set. I'm going to call out what I think the box price will be and what some of the singles that I think, usually they're top singles, but what some of the singles I think are going to see in terms of increases. And this is just totally speculation. Please do not make purchases based on what I'm going to show. Without doing your own due diligence or like having your own conviction in these plays. I'm just saying, if you have no exposure to these sets and you want some exposure, it could be a good time. But by no means am I saying that these boxes and these prices are not already like astronomically high. So I think there will be a delay since there's so much SV floating around. Could turn into a race to the bottom. It could. Yeah, no. I'm not ruling out anything. I'm just saying, if I look at what happened to the last eras, because here's the thing, right? This is the problem. We are going into the 30th anniversary when this is all going to be going out of rotation. That could just be a coincidence. That, early SV era is not that like appealing. It's not that much eye candy. You have 151 Paldean Fates, which are great specialty sets. I do think Paldea Evolved will probably do pretty well. And then I think Paradox Rift is one of the bigger sleepers, but it's definitely going to be nuts. Like, they're going to have, the problem is, like, I don't see them reprinting any more of this stuff because they're just going to have to keep hammering Prismatic. They have to keep hammering Destined Rivals, which they're, for whatever reason, not doing. Like, the Team Rocket's Moltres UPC has 2 Destined Rivals packs like we just looked at. The 2025 Advent calendar is literally like a fuck you to the kids as far as Destined Rivals goes. 2 packs of Destined in that as well. And honestly, like the UPC, I can't understand why they're only doing 2 packs, but whatever. So yeah, they're gonna have to focus on those sets. They have the megas coming. They're gonna be printing a shit ton of megas. So I just feel like these sets from early Scarlet Violet, they are very expensive. I'm not gonna say they're not. What I am going to say is that I feel like people are choosing not to buy them because they think they're going to get reprinted, or there's going to be a huge market downturn, which that is a possibility, or they think that, I got to focus on what's coming up next. But I'm just, based on what we've seen, it does seem like there's all I'm trying to say is you can't rule out the possibility that these early era sets don't go up. As far as like when they go out of standard rotation, there's no more coming. Just based on that idea alone. But I'm not saying that there's insane value in any of those sets that's being overlooked. It's just more so that, like, if anyone's trying to get last minute exposure or trying to find plays in this market, Quilly is in here right now. We had this conversation last week. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But there's just not very much opportunity in the market right now. Every promo, the McDonald's promo is getting scalped into the oblivion. You can't it's lines out the door, food left on the street. Every restock for any major retailer just gets botted into oblivion. So we're still in that sort of headspace where there's no real opportunity unless you're grading a lot, in my opinion, sending a lot of really minty copies to grade either with CGC or PSA, going for pristines or PSA 10s. I just don't think there's that much out there right now. That's like, no one can really build a position. I was telling someone this today where I was like, obviously I'm not going to be buying Destined Rivals at its current price point for the booster box, but my only case of Destined Rivals that I have, I paid $1,400 for, which is the most I've ever paid for a single case, definitely at release. The most I've paid for a single case, I mean. But I was thinking that the set was going to go down to like 1,200 or 1,000. I thought I was just going to have to dollar cost average down, but I wanted some exposure just in case. And it's done nothing but go the other direction. And Pokemon is choosing not to reprint more booster boxes right now, which is very concerning as far as like getting it into the hands of collectors, players, and even investors. So that's kind of my point here, is that like even investors don't want to make plays on this new stuff because they have no idea what's coming. But based on the way they're behaving, it's like they're almost like teasing you, taunting you to be like, this is the best opportunity right now. They're the cheapest boxes, quote unquote. Um, I mean, heck, Battle Styles is 220 a box. You could still buy that. So I don't know. It's hard to find opportunities in the market right now. Year 2030 is Prismatic Umbi or Mew more expensive? Oh, Mew. Mew more expensive. Consult the stars if needed. Yeah, no, I don't like making these types of videos or streams just in the sense that like I definitely have exposure to these products, and so I have something to gain by people holding them. But I mean, I'm just such a small fish that it does not impact me. I've made more value just by not doing anything than I have from uh, buying or selling right now. But all I'm trying to say is that history has a funny way of repeating itself, and it just all of this assumption does not take into consideration there could be a market downturn, there could be some political global economic issue that happens. You know, the orange man in office in the United States is not he's very well known for causing turbulence in markets, so it's very possible that could trickle back into Pokemon. So there's 100% uncertainty, and markets don't like uncertainty. But at the same time, knowing what we know about how Pokemon has performed historically, I just think that once these go out of standard rotation, unless there is a market downturn, I don't see why these boxes would go lower, is all I'm trying to say. They might not go extremely higher. They could just stay flat, but I just don't see why they would go lower unless people start really dumping huge quantities in like Rudy sized amounts. But that's all I'll say about that. So dumb. The UPC should have had 4 to 6 packs. Yeah, I mean, at least. I'm thinking, I feel like it should have had half the packs in Destined. Should be like 8 packs Destined, and then like 1 pack from the last 9 sets or something. Or yeah, last 9 sets, or maybe the last 5 sets you do 2 of each, or last 4 sets 2 of each, something like that. Prismatic definitely taking up a lot of printing capacity. Yeah. So again, as someone who kind of badmouthed, I mean, I didn't really badmouth them, but I was just trying to make people aware of Poke Notify in the last one. I have nothing against these guys. It's just like the nature by which they made that announcement. I wasn't a huge fan of, but they posted a lot of these upcoming products. So you have, where is it? So this is like the biggest one, I think, that's coming. 150,000 units of these. I think they said each Sam's Club is getting 1 to 2 pallets. Again, my issue with these is that they will bring the pack price down, but if Pokemon doesn't reprint more ETBs, for example, I think it's still going to be an issue to just have these like random UPC products, or premium products. But they will bring back down the pack price, which is very important. So I'm not going to say that's not important, but you know, they are really trying to push down Prismatic, which I'm not against. It is very expensive, but they're going to get burned if they don't start hopping on Destined soon, I think. We have time. It's Wild West, but big company will sort it out. Yeah, this Quilly is probably the most important thing, is that like regardless of what I'm saying, whether I think things will continue to go up or not, Pokemon has a funny way of surprising just about everyone. Whether you're wanting things to go up or down, they will make their money and make you feel something. So there's going to be people on each side of that coin. Am a responsible answer. I need to know what to spend my HELOC on. Oh God, no! Please don't do that. It'll be interesting how much sealed product survives the rip and shippers. Yeah, so again, if the market has a downturn, the rip and shippers and the scalpers are going to feel it first, and that will definitely affect like single pack prices, I think. But as far as booster boxes and specialty ETBs, we'll have to see. That remains to be seen. Um, Again, my thing is that for me, it's just about like if if everything is so expensive already, then where is the value in the market right now? It's obviously not in X, Y, and Sun and Moon because those have 10x in the last year. Sword and Shield is probably the best place, but it's already in the like the best time to buy Sword and Shield was 1 to 3 months ago. Right now, every set across the era is seeing dramatic spikes in price, except for Battle Styles and Astral Radiance, probably as far as the specialty or the alt art sets go. But everything else, even Silver Tempest, is $450 a box now, which no one could have ever told me that, especially when it's sold out. I mean, dude, I don't know if you guys have seen, but like, let's pull up Silver Tempest. Oops. Silver Tempest. Booster box. So on TCG Player, again, it's probably cheaper on eBay and other sites. Most recent sale, $450. Lowest list, $449 plus $5 shipping. So also $450. $445, I meant, sorry. Multiple selling at $450. Look at Lugia V alt. These are, I mean, dude, the Lugia V is what, pop 15,000 or something? Like, it's crazy. 19,000. Pop 19,000. Most recent sales, if it loads, over $1,000. I sold so many of these at like 5 to 6. Oh, I won't say so many, but like 4 to 5 of them at 5 to 600, thinking that like the top was in. And this was, I don't know, at the beginning of the boom. So like almost a year ago, like 7, 8 months ago. I think they were going for that much. But I mean, this is just like you can't do much. I do think that probably I should sell some stuff into the strength. I keep saying this, but I haven't done it. And it's because I really just am not leveraged at all in Pokemon. And so anything that I got cheap that's like appreciated so much, I don't really care if it drops 30, 40, 50% because I'm able to wait out another few years if I want to. The only thing that I would really end up selling for is that I do want to save up to buy a house in the next like 2 to 3 years. And so if I need more money than I think I do for like putting 20% down on a house, which is very expensive in Washington, if any of you know Western Washington real estate, it's very expensive. I think you would for like a standard, 3-bed, 2-bath, it's like 700 grand. And you probably have to do work on a house that's 700 grand. And 20% of that at 6.8%, or sorry, 20% of that for the down payment would be 140,000. And at 6.8%, you end up paying, which is the current like interest rate, or I think it was when I checked a month ago, like for a mortgage calculator, you end up paying like over $1 million, like 1.1 million, which is just insane. Obviously, you can refinance all that stuff, but yeah, that's really the only life goal I have right now that would cause me to like sell a significant portion of sealed from my collection or investment portfolio. Thoughts on Surging as long-term hold? I feel like that's a great play right now. I do think Surging is a great, it's going to be a great set. I have enough Surging already that I got before it like was over $200. But here's my thing. Again, it's in rotation and they've reprinted it 4 times already or 5 times. They probably will keep reprinting it more. But it is impressive how resilient this set has been, even with how many reprints they've had. Like, look at this. This is like peak. This is all those reprints did. Brought it down what? Like 20%, 30%? Not even 30%. 10, 20%? For I mean, this is like if you want to take a set that's gotten booster box reprints, Surging and like SV Base are like the ones to look at. SV Base got the reprints though when it was already dirt cheap and no one cared about it. But Surging, everyone has been a fan of for the most part. And even with all those reprints, again, they weren't like insane reprints. This is where like I think Quilly's points could come more into play. The size of the reprints have not been impressive by Pokemon. They've just been these little like, large account stores getting 20, 30 cases. It's nothing. It gets in a bull market, it gets absorbed in a day. Like if you list it at market price, it gets absorbed in like a week or a couple days. Now, if they were to reprint on a scale of what they did in 2021, now you might start to see some actual downward pressure. You could see Surging maybe go down to like below 200, which we really need to happen for certain sets. I don't know if Surging needs it as much as like Destined or even Journey together, man. Journey is way too expensive for what it is. But I do think Surging right now, I think the case price of Surging is pretty attractive because I think you could get them. Like I know Retro was buying cases at 1,300. So it looks like they're around 1,400, mid 14s maybe. If you could find cases at 1,300, I would feel pretty confident in that. Yeah, I don't mind Surging. I think it's a deep enough set to do well long term. It is crazy to think that the Pikachu is like cut in half at this point. Let's see, is it down like 50%? Because I think it was over 500, right? 480, 492. So not quite 50%, but what else? This is being printed heavy right now and prices are down. Yeah, so that I guess I kind of spoke to that a little bit. ETBs are cooked for now. Which ETBs, Jacob, are you talking about? Oh, you mean the Surging ETBs and Twilight. Yeah, that's the other one. Surging Sparks, Twilight, Masquerade, ETB reprint. I don't know if Google is going to give me this. I guess, bro. The irony of this is that I actually have to use PokeNotify for like getting information here because I don't know if PokeBeach posts it. Where's the post? So this is one of them. They have a Surging Sparks with Booster Bundle 2-pack. I don't know why they do these. They should just like reprint the shit out of each individual product or whatever. These are just like a scalper's like, this is dessert for scalpers as far as a product goes. There's not really people, I think, buying those wanting the extra, I mean, they want extra packs, but I don't know. Here we go. September 2025 restocks. The problem here is that like I don't think these restocks affect the booster box price like at all. Like almost at all. Especially again in a bull market. It's like very hard to stop the trajectory that we're on right now. Now, again, to Quilly's points about like still being able to get stuff later on and be a little bit cautious, I could see a scenario where regardless of a bull market, if more people are investing in this than usual, which there are, and even scalpers or like large scale bot cookers or whatever sitting on, because I've seen these people post like, I saw a guy post, I think 25,000. He said he had 25,000 151 bundles, which I don't know if that was true. 25,000 or 2,500. It was like 200K worth of bundles. If the market really crashed, or in this case, if things change in a year or two and people are sitting on dozens of ETBs, loose ETBs, hundreds of ETBs, like we will find ourselves probably in a 2021 situation where people have hundreds of the what were they? Shining Fates premium collection boxes. You had the Hidden Fates for a while before it became like an actual thing that everyone wanted it. It's just there's so much of it. But I could see a situation like that where people are sitting on like hundreds of products like that. Couldn't believe it only had 2 packs of Destined. So dumb. Couldn't believe they used the original Moltres. Yeah, I mean that was. I don't know how do you guys in the chat feel about them just recycling the artwork, because pretty much it's unanimous from what I was seeing from the responses I got on Instagram that like nobody was a fan of the fact that they were just using these 3 artworks with a Destined Rival stamp. I don't know why they don't have them on here. Rockets, Moltres UPC. Again, we're going to Poke Notify. They just have the best they just get the best search results. But yeah, this is going to be crazy. Just 3 recycled artworks with the stamp. The irony is I think these are going to do really well, fortunately or unfortunately. It's so like, I don't know, a lot of people think it's lazy, which I kind of agree with. Again, the product itself, I'm a fan. I know we talked about this. The box, and I guess the concept of it, I'm a fan of. The pack selection, I don't know what they're doing with that. 2 Destined is not acceptable. They don't need to be reprinting. Again, we're kind of talking about it, the G block. I don't really see a point in reprinting these if it's going to go out of standard rotation in 8 months. They should be focusing on sets like Twilight, Surging, Journey, Destined, Temporal, I guess, to some extent. Black Bolt, White Flare. I mean, Black Bolt and White Flare might be more affordable now. I haven't really checked. But the other thing I don't hear talked about much is that I'm going to be curious about is the average consumer's attention span. It's 0. The attention span today is 0. So once things are not exciting for people, you'll see a huge amount of people leave. But again, I don't know if that necessarily means the booster box prices of some of these sets are going to go down just because people leave. If there's no like added supply, yes, if the demand goes down, you will see prices come down. But I don't think it's usually as dramatic if it's not actively getting reprinted. Like, yeah, the market, we can't fathom how it goes, blah, blah, blah. But I'm curious actually how long consumers stick in the hobby regardless of the price of the market. I think it's shorter than people think. No, clearly, I think you are right. I will counter that a little bit by saying every time that we go through these booms, we attract more people than previously, in the sense that like more people will stick around. Now, I don't think it's enough to cushion how much Pokemon can print and when they really release the floodgates on some of these sets like they have in the past, or products like they're doing with Prismatic. But you know, even if like 10 to 20% more people stick around, that's just more people engaging in the hobby than were before. You have the rip and ship thing, which is absolutely bonkers. We haven't really had it on that scale anymore. I know everyone says that. I know they would be impacted by a market downturn, but I do think that's like, they are the reason why people like me are able to see such dramatic gains in such a short amount of time. And I'm someone who's comfortable, and I'm saying this now because I've done it for 3-4 years. I'm comfortable sitting on sealed product for years to come. I have a hard time selling it because I get like too attached to it, which is both a good and bad thing. I don't have any intention to rip any of it. I would buy things separately to do that. But you know, the rip and shippers directly benefit people like me who have a lot of sealed product, just because they're the ones actually chewing through all that supply. If they're opening up booster boxes specifically, but even packs to some extent. But I do think that if and when we go back to normal or reduction in demand or increase in supply that leads to a reduction in demand or stabilization of demand, then we will see, especially pack prices, I think, drop off. All related rates, if they print a ton of cards and release over an extended period of time, demand will eat it up slowly and price won't go down much. Yeah, my thing is that like it just seems inconsistent the way they've done things throughout the years. I think they're still trying to learn how to navigate like essentially a COVID 2.0 right now as far as the market goes. But if they save up and dump it all at once, that's a different story. So yeah, I hope they learned from that from the first time. It really seems like they have, in the sense that they've waited at least 3. I mean, if you count specialty sets, you had Surging, Journey, Prismatic, Destined, Black Bolt, White Flare. I mean, Black Bolt, White Flare, there seems to be a decent amount of it out there. But they've waited that long to do like any mass scale reprint. It doesn't seem like they did any super dramatic reprints for the earlier SV era sets too. Like, it was enough restocks to like bring the price down a little bit or keep it consolidated for a few months, but then it, I mean, didn't really hold it back. Like, continue to go on a run later. Yeah, definitely leaning into big box. I mean, this is okay. So again, to Quilly's point, the point you're bringing up, Michael, is also, I see as an issue, in the sense that like allocating less to distro is like directly impacting a lot of the local game stores and stuff. They like can't get any product. So it's going to be interesting to see long term if that remains to be the case, or if they maybe enforce like strict pricing on distributors, which I don't think they will. But if they did, maybe that would cause them to, I don't know, not just like hoard product if they're doing that. UPC playmat is super sick. Yeah, this is a cool looking playmat. It's, I don't want to say, I like the Moltres. The only issue is that like it looks exactly the same as the ETB, which is probably their goal. Let's see, ETB. Like, it's the exact same, right? Yeah. As far as like the pattern, same pattern, but the Moltres looks better in my opinion than the Destined Rivals ETB does. But dude, if they do this, just the 30th anniversary sticker, Celebrations, the actual like design was so lazy to me, but I like the idea of like going back to different eras and pulling it forward. So for that concept, they did need to implement stamps or stickers or whatever, because they were bringing back old cards. There needed to be a way to differentiate them. Now, if they did alternate arts of those, that would have been crazy. Like, or like what they did with the Mimikyu and the Light Toxicity, I thought was one of the coolest concepts, because for someone like me who grew up on EX era, if you have a Mimikyu Delta species, like, I think that's one of the coolest like thoughts out there. I keep saying like a million times. I'm so sorry. I'm still trying to improve my my video skills. So stamp aside on this one, Delta species was super sick, and then you have the Light Toxicity, which was a shout out to the light Pokemon from early WotC era. And it's like in WotC style too, which was crazy. Like, for a brand new modern card, I think this is one of the coolest cards they did from that set. Also, the Blue Mew I thought was really cool, but that was a newer card. I think this is one of the coolest cards. It's a promo, I think. It's not, no one likes this Pokemon really, but really cool card. Smash hit promo. I think the Mimikyu is pretty expensive now already, but I was a fan of that. Praying for Johto themed 30th. Yeah, that would be super cool. I think Sealed Capital asked about a Gen 2 30th anniversary, or maybe Gen 2 in general. Gen 2 Pokemon. What's going on here? Gen 2 Pokemon. Honestly, so here's the thing. Gen 2 is very possible, just in the sense that they are releasing Totodile and Chikorita in the new game. So I could see a world in which they do this. Some of the megas like Ampharos and a few others will be from Gen 2 as well. I don't know. Be pretty cool. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for what's to come. and Pokemans. What else do we got, guys? I know I didn't even go into the bull predictions and bear predictions for Scarlet Violet era. I guess I could do that now, but I'm gonna breeze through this as fast as I can. Just give you guys my raw take on it. Again, this is complete bull case. If everything stays on track the way it is and these sets perform as well as I'm making it sound like they will, which I have no idea if they will, these are my predictions. If everything stayed on track and kept going the way it's going, this is my prediction. So we're going to pull up the booster box from each set, and then we're going to look at some of the singles too. Very slow to do this. But some of these sets are already starting to move in like a really kind of annoying way where like I don't really understand why they are, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Okay, Paradox and then Paldean Fates, which I already had open, but I'm just a Dumbo. Bubble Mew, I don't need open. Okay. So SV base, I wrote down my predictions. So right now it is at $220 a box. So my prediction for SV base, if everything continued the way it was, kept being on an upwards trajectory, and we go out of print, and it replicates similar patterns in April 2026 to May 2026 of what happened with some of these sets in Sword and Shield era. So it's at 220 now. My prediction was 240 to 250, which I don't think is overly bullish. That's like a 10 to 15% increase for SV base. Pretty mediocre set. I don't think that's too crazy. My one crazier prediction for SV base actually was I didn't care about the Gardevoir, the Ralts. I actually think the Drowsy could get up to like 40 to 50 bucks again. And that I feel pain saying that because it literally went up to $80 at one point and then came back down crashing. But the main thing I think for the Drowsy to increase that much is just like it's pretty much the most notorious card from the set. And it's extremely hard to grade. It's a ridiculously hard card to grade. I think it's like 20% or less than 20%. You say 10 rate. So I could see this reaching like 40 bucks, which would be like a 40% increase, I think 30, 40%. That's my take on SV base. For Paldea, I had, so this is a crazy one. Paldea's at 370-ish. I predicted Paldea would be 500 a box, which is super bullish, like overly bullish, by mid next year. So 370. We're going to revisit this next year and just see how wrong I was. 370 to 500 is a 35% increase. So to do another 35% and to have that much, but here's part of my thing too. Like I looked through these sets. It says there's 45 listings, but if you really look at the number of genuine boxes from like right here down, I think there's really like 30. It might be, but look how fast it goes from. Again, people can list more as it goes up, but we're at 380 as lowest list on TCG Player. Again, you can find it cheaper on eBay, but we're what, like 10 boxes away from 400, and then from 400 to 500, it's like 20 boxes, 15, 20 boxes. So I just think like these early sets are already starting to get somewhat thin in a way that makes me uneasy. And it makes me uneasy just because I want to back up Quilly as far as like these are still relatively new sets. But like if you look at the cases too, I know there are people with dozens of Paldea cases. So I'm not going to pretend like there aren't. But I mean, you're less than 10 cases away from $3,000 a case on TCG Player, which would be $500 a box. So that's my prediction. Paldea 500 by April or May of next year. The Magikarp, I think, will be at 300. I don't think that's too crazy. You guys can let me know if that's too crazy. Magikarp to 300 would be, what did I write? 25% increase. 280 to 300, that's what I said. 280 to 300. I don't think that's super unreasonable. I think it peaked like around that price, 280, 276. Tyranitar is my big one that I think is criminally underpriced, guys. Tell me why a Tyranitar is cheaper than an Iono and even the Raichu. The Raichu is gorgeous. Tyranitar, I have 0 of this card. No PSA 10s, no raw copies. So I am shilling off pure speculation and thought of just like looking at this card, knowing this Pokemon. It's only been down for the last 6 months. Peaked at $51, which is not that much. Down 20%. My prediction is $70 to $80 for Tyranitar next year, which is like a 50 to 100% increase potentially. In between there somewhere. But, you know, part of it too is that, like, if you look at Paradox, the Groudon, $72. They're not the exact same Pokemon. Obviously, Groudon is more popular probably, but I'm just sort of drawing a comparison. I could see this card getting to $70 pretty easily. Yeah, that's my take on Tyranitar. And then the last one I wrote was the Raichu. I think the Raichu will probably hit like $60. Again, I want to reiterate, this is if the market continues doing what it's doing. No slowing down, no downturns. I could see this card hitting like 50, $60. Well, it's already almost at $50. 55, $60, let's say. I mean, it got down to $43. Is that the lowest? Oh, no, it was a $30 card. So $10 off the lows. No. $15 off the lows. So I'm not saying these are cheap cards by any means. People buying singles, they're not cheap. Buy Japanese maybe. But I'm just making very bold predictions, which I don't think are too crazy. Like, they're definitely bullish, but I feel like I'm also trying to be like realistic where it's like, I'm not saying every card, not every product. I think the booster box is going to be very expensive. And I think the top singles for that set specifically are going to be very, very expensive. And I think the Iono will probably stay flat or go down. Obsidian Flames. This is one where I'm like kind of losing my mind. Guys, 5 boxes sold to one person, $275 a piece. Are you like out of your mind? $270 is what it's at right now. When I made this post the other day, I think it was like $250. But my prediction for Obsidian, still overly bullish probably, is $300 a box for several reasons. One, it seems to be one of the sets that everyone ignored for a really long time. Now everyone who doesn't have it, there's just a few people who have it, feels like. And when I say a few people, I mean like not every single person has this. And so, yeah, 270 to 300 is not too crazy to me. $30 increase is how much? 10%. Okay. That's my take on Obsidian. Now, where it might get a little bit juicier is the singles. So for the singles, the Charizard is already still going on a run. I think it was 71 last night when I checked. I predicted the Charizard will be anywhere from $90 to $100 by April of next year. I don't think that's super outlandish. There's really not that many listed. There's like 30 before you hit 100. PSA 10s are like 450 or something now, or 400. I can't remember. My other one, obviously, I like the Ninetales. Excuse me. So the Ninetales is an interesting one. This one peaked around $35, and it's still at $19, man. I've had probably 20 of these come and go through my hands when I was vending. And they were always, I would buy them for 15, sell them for 20, buy them for 12, sell them for 15. Like it's always in the same price range. My prediction for Ninetales, overly bullish, $30 to $40. That's my guess by mid next year. So that's a 60 to 120% gain, pretty much. If it goes to 30, it'd be 60%. Am I right? So it's like $20 now, going up to $30. 50%. Okay, 50%, and then to 40 would be 100%. So that's my prediction for Ninetales. I just think this is a Gen 1 Pokemon. It's gonna do well, I think. But the last one I put on here, which again, I don't care about the Cleffa, the Gloom, any of that, the Scizor. So Scizor is like $10 right now. My prediction was just that it would hit around $15 to $20. I know it already kind of got up in the 15s there. But $15 to $20 is still a 50 to 100% gain. So percentage-wise, it is very chunky, what I'm talking about. But I'm just thinking, if everything goes out of print, these cards from this set are very difficult to grade. If they keep that sort of premium, I could see people going back to rip more of these sets to try and chase these singles. So that is my take on Obsidian. Bullish, bearish. Well, that's the bullish take, but like it or not, that's my take. 151. This set, I'm at a loss for words. It is definitely the set that's going to perform very well, in my opinion. You hear about it from everyone. They think that you hear it from Dan, and a lot of other people who this is the set, right? They say 151 over Prismatic. This thing is on an absolute tear over the last year. This is like the most insane trend line you've ever seen. 326% in the last year. It's sitting at 315-ish market price. Last sold some at 350, but I'm just going to say like what did I say? 315. So my guess, again, we're going to get overly bullish on 151. 315, my guess is 400 to 500. So that's a pretty wide range, but that's just my guess. That'd be 26 to 58% increase. That's where I'm at on 151. The PCET for these, it's fucking $825. A year ago, it was under $100. Or under $200, sorry. So you've seen a almost 5x in the last year. $825, cheapest listed $925, last sold's over $900. I'm saying $825 to $1,000 is what it's going to hit. Like, I'm just giving it a flat 1,000. I think it will be there by next year, just due to the amount of boxes out there. It's like way less than I even thought. If you go check the availability on any of these markets, TCG Player, eBay, there's like none of it out there really. So yeah, very bullish on it, and I own I own 4 151 151 PC. Fuck. I own 4 151 ETBs, regular ETBs, no PC ETBs, no UPCs. But I think the PC ETB will hit $1,000, and I think it's totally nuts and shouldn't be the case, and I don't understand it. But it's just the stamp. People love it. I don't know. So that's 151 sealed. Quickly for the singles on 151. I think the Charizard, it's not super crazy to think it'll gap up like 20% to 250 again. It's already hit that price before. If it stops, as soon as this set stops being in standard rotation or stops being printed, this thing will probably run up to where it was before, but I'm saying 250 by April and May of next year. The Blastoise, I think I put like $80 to $90, which again, I think it's been at those prices before. Pretty much my prediction for these is that they'll just like get back to their all-time highs pretty much. Yeah, like $90. Which would be, how much is that? Like 15 to like 30% if you do 80 to 90. because it's already pretty close. Venusaur, a lot of people like the Venusaur. I'm not as big of a fan of it. I just put down like 70 to 75 bucks, which would be from low 60s to 70, 75 is like a 10 to 20% increase, I think. Nothing crazy. The biggest sleeper, if you take anything away from this, it's not even a sleeper, but like the biggest one to gap up, in my opinion, is going to be the Zapdos. This could be a hot take. This is like the best looking SIR from the set. This and the Blastoise, in my opinion. This card, my prediction, it's $60 now. I think this card will be $80 to $100 plus. They're giving a lot of Moltres love in Destined. I could see them giving some Zapdos love, or the market giving some Zapdos love. Also, this card has just been, I think it peaked at what, 70? 70. So I could definitely see this going to 80 to 100 plus, which would actually be a pretty hefty increase. If we go from 60 to 80, that's what, like 30%? 60 to 80 would be 33%, and then to 100, it's going to be 67%. 66, 67. So I just think it's one of those cards that's probably could pass some of the starters. I mean, it's already within $4 of the Venusaur. I don't know if it'll pass the Blastoise just due to the popularity. But I could see a world where this card goes to like 120 and the Blastoise is 100 and the Venusaur is like 70, 80. But my guess for now, mid next year, is 80 to 100 bucks on the Zapdos. Could be crazy. That's just my guess. This is super bullish takes on price action for these sets. The last one, I don't really care for the illustration rares much. The Alakazam is like what, 40, low 40s. I guess this would go to like 50, 60, probably 60. To be like a 30, 40% increase. Dope looking card, amazing Pokemon. It's my logo. Why not? Speaking of logos, we'll probably have a brand change soon. You're going to see my actual face as my brand image. So that's all I had for 151. I think this set's going to do phenomenal in the next couple years and even into next year. But let's do Paradox real quick, because Paradox is an interesting one. So Paradox, I didn't really make any predictions for the singles right now. But the booster box, man, I thought this thing was at like 230. The lowest list is 224, 225 with $8 shipping, but then it goes up to 241 plus $6 shipping. So this is already over $240. I mean, there's sales cheaper than that, and you probably can find it cheaper on eBay. Paradox's depth, though, I think this set is undervalued. It's just like this is what happened with Paldea. It was such a deep set that like it was fun to open, and also you had the Magikarp, which was the big chase. Paradox, you have the Groudon, which I don't know if it's obviously not as big as the Magikarp, but it's a good chase. It's an illustration rare, and you have so many good SIRs and IRs, man. You have Steelix, Roaring Moon, Altaria, Garchomp, Gimmighoul, Goldengo, Iron Valiant. This is one of my favorite ones still. And then like all the illustration rares are still like 10, 15 bucks. The Vanillish is one of the best looking cards in this entire era. Don't hate on me. I think it's the same person that made the Mew UPC promo. This is one of my favorite looking cards, and I own 0 of them, of course. But visually, amazing card. So my guess for Paradox, my bullish guess for Paradox. Let's say it's 230 a box right now. That's in between 220, 240. My bullish take is 230 to 270 is close to 20%. 280 is going to be like 25. Oh, 21. Okay, so 15 to 20% bump up. That's my ultra bullish guess on Paradox. I do think this one will start to gap up on some of the other sets. It's kind of frustrating because like I do think this should be more expensive than Obsidian, but it seems like there's way more Paradox out there than Obsidian, and it's easier to grade and stuff too. So if Obsidian was easy to grade and there was like a little bit more out there, I think it would not be anywhere. It would probably be the cheapest box. But SV base is, I think. Okay, last one, Paldean Fates. This one is absolutely bonkers. The ETBs are at 220. I'm going to be ultra bullish on this one because of the Bubble Mew. The Bubble Mew is going to carry this set into a territory that we're all uncomfortable with, more uncomfortable than we are now. My guess for Paldean Fates, this is going to be the most crazy one for the whole stream. I'm going to guess it's 220 now. My guess is that this ETB, regular ETB, hits 350 mid next year. So 220 to 350. We're talking a 60% increase. And then for the PC ETB, pretty much same thing. Is at 350 right now. My guess is that it's going to be somewhere between 500 and 600, probably. I mean, look at this. The lowest list is 489. Granted, the recent sold 370, 380. Let's say it's 370 right now. Probably less, but let's say 370. 500. 35%. What is it at 600? Like 60? 62. So yeah, that's, I mean, it's pretty bullish, but I don't think it's like outlandish to think that if 151 could do this, again, 151 maybe has more nostalgic ties, more depth to the set. I think the Bubble Mew, if anything, is going to carry a set to the stratosphere like 151 did with its PC ETBs and regular ETBs, it's going to be the Bubble Mew. So, and this is like the reason why I'm able to make these guesses, in my opinion, is just because the lack of reprints from Pokemon for some of these sets. For 151 PC ETBs, I don't even know if they restocked it or reprinted it ever. And I don't even think they chose to reprint Blooming Waters, a bajillion booster bundles, but we never saw ETBs. I think they really are making calculated plays with not reprinting booster boxes, not reprinting specialty ETBs. Like they are much more in tune with the market than I think a lot of people give them credit for. Now, could they still blow up in our face with mass scale reprints of certain sets? Yes, 100% they could. That's always a possibility. But my thing is that, like, even when we've seen those mass scale reprints, everything has recovered at some point within like 3 to 5 years, usually. Maybe not for like certain Sun and Moon and XY stuff, but is a little bit longer than that in some cases. But it just feels like the interest in the hobby is so high. The nature by which people are opening products is totally different. There's a lot more people scalping and flipping and investing in this stuff than before. So I will say there's that. But people are just comfortable sitting on stuff for long periods of time right now, which again could change, but that is where I'm at right now. Now, bear prediction. We're going to breeze through the bear predictions real quick. I shouldn't have closed all the products. Shit. Well, essentially, my bear predictions. SV base. Let's just grab it real quick. Sorry. And then we'll wrap up stream. So if anyone has any last minute questions or comments, you think I'm crazy, you think this is like totally outlandish and overly bullish, let me know. The bearish takes, we are going to say... Crap. Bearish takes, so this is not like super bearish. This is bearish to where if things start to head the other way, I could see it going here. So SV base is at 220 now. My bearish take was 180 a box. So under 200, maybe like 160 to 180. If the market like is down by April of next year. Aldea, I just don't really see this one going that much lower, even if the market dips. I said 320 a box, maybe 310 to 320 a box. Again, assuming no reprints, assuming not some catastrophic world event, world war, pandemic thing that's going to cause people to pull all their money out of Pokemon. 320 a box, 310, 320 a box for Paldea. Bearish take. Obsidian, I could see back at like 210 to 220, absolutely horrendous set. But it does still have kind of the, like we were talking about, like less, I don't know if it's less out there, but just less, it's in less people's hands. There might be more product, but like less individual people owning it. Um, and so I think that one's always that aspect has always propped this setup way more than it should be propped up, but that's kind of where I see it at. 151. I'm gonna say for 151, this is one where I know I just said it for Paldea, but 151 is the one that I don't see dropping really much at all. If there's even kind of a catastrophic downturn for the ETBs, at least, unless they did a last minute shotgun blast of ETBs into the market. I know they did it with UPCs, or you'd find them on Target and stuff like that. But for the ETBs, my bearish take, it's at, we're saying 315. Bearish take is 275. So about, what is it, like 40, 45 bucks cheaper? I just think this set is like up and to the right. If you look at this chart, it's just disgusting. Like how this and the PC ETB have performed. It's just a completely linear line, pretty much up and to the right since down here. And down here, there was so much supply that you could pick it off the shelves at Costco, Target, whatever. But times have changed. So I think even if we go back, so much of this product has been opened that as far as ETBs go, unless they reprint more of them, there's just not as many out there as people think. And that, I feel weird saying that because these are modern products. There's thousands of them out there, but relative to the amount of people collecting Pokemon, relative to the amount of people that want 151 in their hands, even just one ETB, it's like becoming more out of reach every day, it seems like. So that is 151. Paradox, my bearish take was 200. So between SV Base and Obsidian, this is kind of how it was before anyways. I mean, I think at one point SV Base was still more expensive than Paradox, but Paradox is criminally underappreciated. I don't know if it's like undervalued necessarily. I know I want to say that. I think Temporal is like my favorite one still, but for the G block, Paradox, I think maybe 200, 210. And Paldean Fates at 220 now. I could probably see like 150 to 175 maybe if we're in a down or normalized market, let's say, next year. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, we'll end it there as far as like showing stuff on screen. Let me know your guys' thoughts, and if you have any questions, or yeah, we'll do kind of a Q&A for a couple minutes, and then we'll hop off because I know most people want the rest of their night back. Let me catch up. Love those concepts. Hope they bring it forth. Yeah, so I definitely am a fan of the 151, the Black Bolt White Flare. It pulls people back who historically have been out of Pokemon for a while. It's Pokemon's way of doing, the way that Magic does Universes Beyond now, to pull in a bunch of people who like Spider-Man, Avatar, Final Fantasy. They figured it out from a partnership standpoint. Now it costs them tens of millions of dollars to do those partnerships, but ultimately it makes them very, very profitable. But Pokemon, within their own IP, is able to pull back products or Pokemon and do new modern spins on them and bring back people into the hobby that is like, oh, I mean, dude, if they do a Diamond and Pearl era style 151 type set, I will be so excited. That was my era. Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, and even Heart Gold till Silver. Like those are it for me. So I'd be down for a Gen 2 version as well. Hot take, Gen 2 is kind of mid. It's very top heavy, only a handful of bangers, but I do love it. So don't cancel me. I mean, that's not, I think that's a valid take as far as like, you really have the starters and the legendaries. Now the legendaries are bangers. But yeah, I get at what I get what you're saying. But Diamond and Pearl for the longest time and still doesn't get love. I I think it's just like kind of a shitty time in the hobby and the brand. But yeah, I mean, I'm shocked that as many people like Black Bolt and White Flare as they do. Like, I'm just like not interested as far as like the nostalgic pull, because I stopped playing the game, stopped collecting the cards right before that. But I will say the illustration rares and the card artworks are all super cool. So I could imagine that if someone grew up playing Black and White, then they would be super into Black Bolt and White Flare. So totally makes sense to me as far as why it's still being pretty successful. I just, again, in this case, I just go with my gut, and it didn't feel right to buy any of it. And I do think that it's going to continue to go down. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, I don't see any new questions for the last 20 minutes. So if there's nothing else, we'll call it there. I'm going to go eat dinner and possibly go to the gymnasium to work out. But, oh, I will show you guys one thing. Very excited. So my friends have gotten me into fishing recently. Sorry, it still has the stickers on it. I just got my first fishing rod. See if I can take the blur off. It's called an ugly stick. I don't know if any of you have fished before. I haven't taken any of the stickers or anything off, but I got a spinning combo. My first fishing rod is a 2-piece rod. And tomorrow we're going to go get me a tackle box and some lures and stuff. And then we're going to go fishing on Saturday. And last weekend when we went camping, I caught my first rainbow trout. It was like 11-inch rainbow trout, which isn't like huge, but very exciting. So now I'm turning into a fisherman. Maybe one day I could fish with Dan. That'd be the dream. Dan, if you watch this back at some point, which you probably won't because it'll be overly bullish for you, so you would never watch to the end of something like that. But if you do, love to go fishing with you someday and open up a pack of 151. So that's the dream. But yeah, we'll call it there, guys. I appreciate all of you for coming out. Again, link in the description for the Discord, free Discord, buy, sell, trade. Talk about collecting, investing, Pokemon, life, your pets, whatever you want to do. It's a place for all of us to get together, hang out. I'm on Discord every day, so please join if you want to hang out. And yeah, other than that, feel free to send me messages or questions on Instagram, Discord, everything in between. And we'll catch y'all next week. Next Tuesday, let me see. I think we're having on, we've had him on before, Amar, Pocket Pals Hub. Let me check the live stream schedule. Yes, next week, next Tuesday, the 26th, we will have Pocket Pals Hub on again. He is a really well-spoken individual and a fun time. So be sure to tune in next Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. PST. And then we'll go from there. So yeah, thank you all. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.